Welcome back, everyone. Going to the second half here of the show. Before we get started, we should probably announce, because we're only about 2.5 weeks away, that we're doing another live show on December the 14th. We're going to have the gang down there doing some more in-person D&Ding out of our studio. Scoots and Alchemist are flying in for the production stuff, so that'll be on Saturday, December the 14th, which means...
There you go.
that me and Dan will be missing the start of the Path of Exile League. So you guys better fucking watch, because it's a big deal.
My picture and my face is my reaction to the announcement of us.
Yeah, you're super excited. Yeah, this was captured at the moment when we knew that we'd be doing another Quarter Swords live show.
Flew into a rage.
This cat is eating a turkey sandwich. Neville, you're a cat. You don't eat turkey sandwiches. Jesus. Adam, please.
Fuck, I don't.
Yeah. So, I think unless you guys want to just immediately start attacking this like dragon riding person, there isn't a fight, because they're not flying in to just like strafe you with breath weapons. They appear to be coming in for a landing. So I think, the dragon and the person.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you, I guess the only thing that matters for time is like Ramus, do you heal Berg? Because Berg has the length of the rage till he just drops dead. So
Yes, I would definitely, seeing that this thing's coming, I would cast heal on Berg, so he heals for 70.
Oh, nice.
Holy
good
shit.
call. Just in case you gotta. All right, so Berg, you are no longer dying. Obviously, your rage goes away after the. It'll go away after the cause of the thing, but you're enraged as long as you want. So you up to the max. So I guess if a fight starts, you're still enraged. But let's play it out and see what happens. So the rider and this creature comes and lands kind of here. I assume you finish the job you started, 10 pillars, where you go and you like pat the corpse out.
Yeah, I make sure the corpse is not burning anymore.
Yeah, I'm helping.
Yeah,
I'm gonna check the corpse to see if it's like actually burnt or just the casing.
So here's the thing, you like reach up and you pull apart some of the wrapping, the burnt wrapping that's holding the corpse. Yes. And so you like open it and you see Unnamed's face and her eyes are open and she's like, like takes a deep breath and she looks at you and she's like, ooh, hello, handsome. She like wiggles her eyebrows at you.
Talking with my mouth.
Yeah, right.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah. So she wiggles her eyes and she's like, why don't you just get me down from here and we'll see what happens. She's like wriggling around trying to get out of this binding.
Since I actually, in my paralyzed state, I can still look. Since I saw the ghost jump out of Berg and into this body.
Yeah.
After Berg was like swiping at it a few times. So I know there's a ghost possession. Do I know anything about exercising this ghost or like a religion check?
Make a religion check. Yeah, make a religion check as you like look at you like, wait a second, you're possessed.
Okay. 32.
32. Yeah. Okay. I mean, so ghosts are the unfulfilled desires of the lower soul. It is the like hunger and instinct, and it's the Poe, right? That's what turns into ghosts. So whatever good was this old man is all gone now. You're just dealing with this ghost. They usually stick around because they have unfinished business in the world, or they're not ready to let go, or they haven't learned the lesson of the tower yet, and so they stick around. And exercising them, like priests have magic that'll do that. That'll get rid of them. Priests can repel them. You can destroy them with magic weapons, that kind of thing. But as long as they're inside a body, you can't like physically get at them. So Ramus should be able to get rid of this ghost. But maybe not right now, because right behind you, this dragon lands on the path.
It totally skipped my mind that Ramus didn't know that Berg was possessed yet. That's why
right. Ramus had no idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I just look at Ramus and I just say, when we have time, this one needs help.
So the creature lands, this big blue like cloud looking thing. The dragon lands on the ground, and the rider slides from the saddle down to the ground. Now, even at this distance, you can feel that there are, and you watch this bush and this one over here. There is a invisible currents of wind swirling around this thing all the time. Like the trees are like rattling. And she gets down, and her cloak is being kind of like pulled up. And so she pulls the cloak tight around her shoulders, and she turns and looks at the dragon as she steps off. And the dragon is kind of like come over here and is sniffing the bushes and like looking at one of these dead kobolds. And she says in Draconic, does anybody in the party speak Draconic? I guess that's the first question, because it's a pretty common language for them.
I do not.
No.
Nope.
You never put down languages for me.
Let me see. I don't think you would have Draconic. I remember picking them, but I don't know. Oh, yeah, they didn't end up on your sheet, hey? You speak a bunch, but Draconic is not, unfortunately, among them.
I figured I would, but that's why I asked, yeah.
Yeah, no, you speak Celestial, you speak a handful of regional dialects, you speak Dwarvish, definitely don't speak Elven or Draconic. I think they're rare enough that you wouldn't know.
Okay.
So, yeah, it lands, it goes, she snaps at it in Draconic and like points her finger, and it looks back at her kind of guilty, like, I wasn't gonna. And then she nods and she basically says something that sounds like damn right. Right, like you can see that she's admonished the creature, and then she turns around with a flourish of her cloak and starts walking towards the group of you. Like steps over the bodies and starts walking over. Does anyone walk up to like say something or like address her, or do you just watch to see what she does?
I mean, go ahead.
Have I heard of like dragon riders or anything like that, like where they come from, a clan or something like that?
If you see, this is the thing. Berg and Ramus and Maharib have all seen dragons before in real life. You have never seen one.
Okay.
They're mythological creatures. They shouldn't exist. They should all be extinct. You've never seen one before in your life. This is for you like a revelation.
Okay. Maybe I'm just wondering if there's like a history check. I've heard of this.
I mean, if you want to make an Arcana check to know things about dragons in general, like the myths and stuff.
Nah. I'll just be in wonderment.
Okay, all right.
that is the action I will take. Wonderment.
Look, Master Frodo, elves.
Yeah.
So it's just like looking at the bush and then like watching her. She strides forward. And like flips her cloak back over her shoulder so you can see that she's armed. She has a great sword. You see Maharib, you see it. It's mounted upside down, so the handle is poking out down, like below her hip instead of over her shoulder. So you see it. She's got it kind of like mounted sideways across her back. And I think she also has a short bow, but her quiver is over here on the saddle. So she strides forward and she looks at all the bodies. She steps over the dead kobolds, comes up here, stops, looks at the group of you, kind of turns her head back and forth. And you can see she has one eye is like normal and I think it's like green. The other, there's a really bad like burn mark on part of her face, and her eye is like damaged. It's like white and it doesn't track when she moves her other eye around. And she otherwise has the like dark skin of a like the children of peasants in this area. She obviously spent a lot of time out in the sun. So she strides forward and she looks at you, and if nobody says anything, she says, "Did you do this?" in common, and gestures at all the dead kobolds.
Well, we told them to piss off and they didn't. And then they jumped out and ambushed us.
She nods. Well, and she turns and looks at this one, and she says something and makes a gesture, and the kobold snarls at her, and she snaps at it, and then it runs off, like scampers away. And she turns back to you, and she says, well, if they ambushed you, and it was a fair fight, which it looks like it was, they got what they deserved. Now I'm down a half dozen kobolds. which, thank you very much, makes my job a lot harder. She squints at the group of you. Who the hell are you people?
Well, considering that we were the ones who were attacked, I think that you should answer first. Seems only fair.
She turns and glares at you and she says, "Oh, boo-hoo. We were attacked on the road and we killed our attackers. Tough life." And she gestures at herself and she says, well, you're clearly not from around here. And she looks at Ramus and at Berg and Maharib. And when she gets to Maharib, she's like, this one I know, but there's no reason for you to know me. My name is Keu. And she gestures and says, that's Loom. And Loom, the dragon, like looks up, like, what? Did you say my name? And then goes back to sniffing around in the bush. And she says, you're coming from the temple, right? She says that to you, Maharib.
Is the fire fully out on this? Like, what is his body doing? Is it has it stopped being annoying?
If it kept going, I would have wrapped it back up again. Like,
it's wriggling around a little, trying to get a look at this woman. And if you turn around to face her, Maharib, you hear Unname's voice be like, but she sounds hot. Let me look at her. Turn back around, you lunk.
I definitely turn and look at her, and that definitely happens. But I don't respond.
Like you turn,
and hopefully she doesn't. I mean, she might hear it, but sorry. Anyways, what was the question? She asked.
She said, "You're coming from the temple, aren't you?"
Yeah, I know. We are. Yes.
Back up into the mountains.
Yes. What does it matter to you?
Everything that goes on in these jungles matters to me. Maybe if you tell me what your business is in the mountains and why you're coming and going from that monastery, I won't have Loom kill all of you. And Loom, again, at the sound of her name, Loom like looks up like, kill everybody? What's up? Yes, I will do that. What's happening?
I like glanced over at the. It's a dragon, right? I would recognize it to be a dragon.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And look back over at her. What does it matter to you? Are we trespassing? Because these creatures told us we were trespassing. Now they're no longer living.
She nods and she says, these lands belong to the people, not to the Mara, not to heaven, not to the courts with their damn magistrates, not to the cults of the primordials, the people that live here. Now, I don't know where you're from, and she looks at Ramus. And Ramus, you're from here, so you have kind of the same like features and coloration that she would. So she kind of makes that, like she looks at you, she's like, I don't know where you're from, but I know I don't recognize the three of you. She turns back to Berg and Maharib and 10 Pillars. So yeah, I think you're strangers in my territory. So you tell me what you're doing, and maybe I let you live.
I look at the other rest of the group, and we're passing through. We're going into the mountains. We won't be here long. We might come back through in several days, but again, we're not claiming any of this to be our own.
On what errand?
Our own. It does not concern you.
It does concern me. You spend time in that monastery with that dead woman. What are you?
I want to kill her and burn everything in there to the ground.
And you can't see her face because she's got like her hood up and her ninja mask or whatever. But her one good eye, when you say that, she's kind of like, oh, now that's interesting. That sounds like that could be fun. She turns to you and she says, but you are her guests. I don't understand. Why?
Reasons are complicated, but we're working on the inside to take her down.
Who are you?
A man of the people that wants to set them free.
Make a persuasion check for me, Ramus.
Nice.
12.
Ooh, a 12. I'm gonna need to roll, I think, because I don't know if she would be all that inclined to listen. How hard would she be to persuade? I'm gonna make a wisdom. We'll make a wisdom save. Thankfully, she's not super wise. Ooh, okay. She's not convinced easily. It's not good enough. So she folds her arms over her chest and puts a foot up on one of the dead kobolds and stares at you. And she says, "A likely story, burned man. Those Mara worshippers kill anybody who opposes them. You don't look like a very good liar to me." She looks at the rest of the group and she says, "What about the rest of you? Are you just his flunkies?"
Lie, for my part. I represent Court of Coins. And I'm here to try and, or I was here to try and broker a peace with the dead one. Laying down of arms, if nothing else. And that did not work.
So she curses. She says like a phrase, but it's not in a language. Maybe Ramus, can you make an intelligence save, Ramus? 10 pillars. You're traveled enough to recognize it, but I want to see if Ramus recognizes her swear too. Okay, Ramus. It sounds familiar to you, but it's a dialect you don't recognize. 10 pillars. She in one of the like Riverlands peasant dialects, she says, "Peace, faithless dog." And she looks at you and she says, "There's no peace to be made with these people. They want corpses. Their machine is a war machine. You can't." I don't know if you're stupid or just hopeful.
If nothing else,
coin.
A visit there would help us better know the enemy. Don't you think? Even if it was a fool's errand.
There's only one thing to be done with enemies. Their heads are to be chopped off and their bodies burned.
Obviously, you're not on the diplomatic side of your people.
I have no people. My people are all dead.
And who might those be?
None of your business, Northerner.
She
turns back to Maharib and she says, "What's in the mountains?"
There's a volcano up there. We have a group that has refuge in the mountains.
The Embers.
Yes.
Fire worshippers, we know. So far, they've stayed to their own. But if that's where you're going, she shakes her head and she says, "You tell them to stay up there."
Well, what? You're going to wipe out an entire group of people, you and this dragon of yours?
Loom takes a sort of threatening step forward and bears these like needle-like teeth at you. And she reaches up and touches the side of the dragon's face and says, "Yeah, maybe we could. Someone killed their dragon, so." Leans back.
I cross my arms. Yeah, that was me.
The two of you have a moment of like, "No, I'm a bigger bad." She's like, "I know, I saw." Like you glare at each other like, "Yeah, all right, stalemate, buddy." And
we just both agree that you're both equally terrifying, and then get to what we want to say.
And yeah, she looks at you and then back at Maharib and she says, "Fine, diplomat, we'll do it your way. I'm not here to cause you any more trouble anyhow." And she looks at the kobolds and she says, "I just heard fighting and came to check it out. These ratlings were fools to attack you. You should have waited, called for help. their problem now. And she like comes over and just like boots one of them and like rolls down the hill. Like just tips him over with her foot and just flops down the hill. And she turns and she says, all right, so you're enemies of the Mara, you're friends with those fire worshippers. Why the trek? What are you going to do up there?
I look at like Ramus. I'm not the one to spill that information, so I just look at Ramus when she asked that.
Well, we want to. Might have noticed we're bringing a body with us.
So here's a question. Have you done anything to like silence the corpse? Like 10 pillars, did you like ball up some bandages and shove it in her mouth? Or like, cause she can't see the body right now. Maharib has her facing the other it facing the other direction. But when you start talking about it, the old man is just gonna be like, hello, I'm not a body, let me down. So like, God, are you doing anything to keep it quiet?
So much restraint to not just like power bomb my back.
like that's the thing is if you, so that can be it. No, here's the thing. You're standing with your back to a rock. So what could happen here is you could start hear a voice be like, hello, and you could just jam the rock, like just slam your back in, and you just hear this like, and just lean on the rock really hard, and that'll just keep them quiet.
You were saying, anyways.
I'm not doing it yet. Go ahead, 10 pillars, if you're gonna do something.
Yeah, did you do anything to like gag the revenant or?
Yeah, oh yeah. No, I put like I found a piece of cloth somewhere on my person or someone's person.
Yeah, just jammed it in there.
And then wrapped a tie around it.
Okay, so we see we see Unnamed with the ball of cloth in her mouth, looking angrily at you and going like trying to say something, but this woman can't hear it over Maharib's grumbly voice. And so she, you say, you might have noticed we have a body. And she kind of looks and sees like part of it sticking out behind Maharib. And she says, why not just use the sun tower? She gestures back the way you came.
It's corrupted. The whole land over there has been defiled by the dead woman.
And it's locked. Can't get in. None of them can.
Makes sense. Servants of the Mara, they struggle with sacred ground. Shrugs. But so what then? You're taking this body all the way up to throw it in a volcano? Why not just dig a pit? Start a fire? I don't understand.
We're hoping the fire worshippers can help us.
Help you with what? You want to bring that person back?
More or less.
Then you're a fool. Death is forever. Magic doesn't help that. Even if you get what you want.
I want to do an insight check on her to see if she believes what she's saying.
Yeah.
22. Or 23.
23. Yeah, but she's there's trauma here. Like someone close to her died and she's upset. And this was like deep old trauma. Like she's like, this isn't true. This isn't a true statement, but it's true to her. Yeah. And you pick that up in like a slight waver of her voice and maybe the way that she like snaps where she's like, idiots, like that's not possible. Shut up. Yeah. She says that and then and like turns away from you, kind of like, you're dumb. You don't know anything.
You've seen what enemy we're facing. We're becoming desperate and trying desperate things.
He nods.
we could use your help when the time comes to fight them.
And once they're gone, then what?
My group and I will flee to the Court of Coins. We have business there.
And I have connections in the Court of Coins. We could work out something. This forest, this land that we stand upon, seem to be very connected to it. Maybe there's a way to see that it becomes your land, untouched by others, and if any encroach, it would be against the land's law, so to speak. Something of that nature. Sure, that might appeal to you.
She like walks back over, so she's not shouting across 20 feet at you. She walks over to you and she says, all right, Court of Coins, you think you can offer me something I already own? This land doesn't belong to the Court of Swords, or the Court of Coins, or to heaven, or to the Mara, or anybody. It's ours. Those who were born on it, those who worked it, the people who grew food here. It's ours because we lived it. Our blood is in this land. Nobody else can just give it back to us. But, and she puts her hands up, she turns back to Ramus, if you're telling the truth about being enemies with that pus-filled sphincter of a woman, then fine. I won't stop you. But if your plan is to replace her with a church or with more soldiers from the north, then we're still enemies.
No, it all must fall. Everything heaven has made must fall. For they are our jailers, and the people deserve to be free.
That's probably the first time that Mahrib has heard those words come out of Ramus's mouth. I think 10 Pillars is a little bit stunned as well.
And if you roll a perception check for Ramus, I just want to see what the result is.
Okay. Crit.
Fucking critted it. Okay.
Man.
Yep. You definitely notice something that doesn't happen with 10 Pillars very often. He starts. He flinches. You see him like visibly like move his head or his eyes or something like that that gives you the notion that what you just said affected him or offends him or something like that.
And I look straight at you as I'm noticing that you flinched. I'm like, we need to build something better, created by man, for man. All deserve freedom.
That is a point we can agree on. Method, however, for a longer conversation in the future. We must focus on what's happening now first. And if we're in agreement, O she who rides dragons, that this dead lady is the scourge of the land, even if we are to become enemies, at the moment we are friends. We are allies. Maybe not friends, but allies. With a common goal. Can we agree on that at least?
She looks at you and she says, I want you to get this straight, Northerner. I don't have goals. I don't make deals. I sure as hell don't have friends. But if you're going to be a thorn in their side, I'm not going to stop you.
You won't help us then.
She shrugs.
Did they kill your people?
she turns and looks at you, Ramus. She says, it's a complicated story, and one I don't know you well enough to tell.
That's fair. If you ever need someone to talk to about it, seek me out.
Make another persuasion check.
Okay.
Shut the fuck
Let's
up.
use my lucky. I want to use my lucky on that one. I'm using my lucky on that one.
Yeah.
Hey,
Okay, 16.
Okay, all right, 16 is pretty good. So, I don't think she says anything in response. I think you see her eyes, and I'm gonna get you to make a quick insight check. Because I want to see what you pick up
17?
from that. Oh, 17, nice. Okay, so she's never had that offered to her before. Whatever traumatizing thing happened to her, it just immediately turned into like rage and destructiveness. And like, no one has ever just been like, hey, you want to talk about why you're so angry? And no one's ever given her that opportunity, and it's making her angry. But some part of her, like, you got through to it. And so she scoffs and she says, I don't need your help, priest. And she like gets on her dragon, like, fuck you, I don't need you. But like, really, you know that it's all bravado. And as she gets on, she reaches down to one of the saddlebags and she takes out a some kind of small object, and she throws it at you, Ramus.
All right.
Catch it. Like, it's not like, haha, I want to hit you with this. This is like, she tosses it to you. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. What is it?
So you catch it. It's a it looks like a bone of some kind, like a length of bone that's been hollowed out and has holes punched or drilled all the way down the side of it. It looks like a little flute. And she says, if you can get a good lungful of air, I'll be able to hear that from just about anywhere in the jungle. Anything interesting happens, maybe I'll come check it out.
Very well. I hope to see you again someday. But if not, I understand.
And she just turns and like pulls on the reins, and Loom comes up from like licking a corpse and like hoping no one will notice that it was trying to eat it. And she pulls on the reins, and Loom's head comes up, and she gives a little kick, and the wings furl out and then kick off the ground, and she flies off with her friend, leaving this flute in your hands, Ramus.
I think as we're all staring at her as she flies off, without turning to anyone, I kind of just, the corpse is talking, by the way.
Turn around. I will banish it.
Berg walks over there immediately too.
Did I?
All right.
You're right there.
I don't
So
think I
Berg-
saw the ghost, so I have no idea why the
No,
corpse.
you
right
didn't.
next to
You had
me.
your back to it. So Berg, you walk over, and as Maharib turns and you look at Unnamed's face, there is something about the way that her face is, like the expression she's making, or something in her eyes maybe, that only Berg would recognize, right? Like you see it. You see through the guys right away. And she's trying to talk, but she's got a big ball of cloth wadded up in her mouth. And also she's like a mummified, so you just hear her face.
Berg walks up,
Little purple
stares
face.
the old possessed man, whatever. Possessed body in the face.
Yep.
How dare you, Ramus? There's a ghost, the old one, inside that, and it is taking everything within me to not bash its face in right now.
No.
And the eyes go really wide when you say that, and it's like shouting through the thing, like it really wants to say something.
Berg, please don't. It's on my back.
I know.
If you want to kill it, Berg, be ready. You'll have your chance. You too, 10 Pillars. Maharib, get ready. It'll come flying out and you must kill it instantly. You must dispel it.
Hold on 1 second. I start to like take the thing off my back and like set it down on the ground.
Okay, so you
Yeah, when you say
like
that, Bird lights up
unstrap
his
it
hammer.
and set it down. Yep.
Where
It's literally, it's just, it's unnamed, and it looks like she's climbed into a sleeping bag and zipped it all the way up to her chin, and then she's just like shouting through this gag, trying to like talk.
Where did this come from? Did anyone? Why is this corpse all of a sudden talking after a fight when it wasn't before?
Basement was
Ghost.
full of. Yes.
You said a
The
ghost?
basement was full of them. One of them must have hopped in Berg.
Oh, must have. You didn't notice anything off, Remus?
Well, I never saw you drunk before, so I didn't really know what was going on there.
You're-
So
You're
thought you were
genuinely
just going through
quiet.
adolescence.
I didn't think anything of it. I don't know. Anyways, I step back a couple feet from the corpse. Do what you want.
Ready your weapons. You'll need to kill it at the moment it comes out. All right, by the power of the elementals, I dispel you and hit the creature.
All right. So let's see here. Let's see. So you're gonna use is this the
Dismissal.
break
I think?
enchantment? So break enchantment is
Yep.
touch a creature that is charmed, possessed, or frightened by a celestial,
that's the
an
one.
elemental, a fey, fiend. Yeah, that's the one. No longer charmed. So there's no saving throw or anything. You just like by the power of the elemental, bang, and the thing. This is what's weird, Maharib, is that the force of the blow, right? So Ramus hits the thing in the forehead, and the ghost falls through it, through you, and then lands on the ground here in front of you, or like on the ground. So it passes through you like that.
Yeah.
And you feel this like shiver as the ghost kind of like moves through you, and then lands right here, and immediately looks over at Berg like, listen, you have to listen to me. I could be very valuable to you. We had some good times together, didn't we, buddy? But I assume, Berg, you're just like smash.
Yeah, initially. I mean, just immediately. Once the ghost is out,
you just
I
lay
lit
into
my
it.
hammer
All right.
Before too.
Okay, yeah. So take a swing. Your hammer's glowing. You swing it in there.
Yep.
Okay, 32, no problem. You can roll damage if you want. It had 2 hit points, but it could be fun. All right, there you go. You kill it. Yeah. So all it takes is he looks up. He's just like, wait a second. We could be friends. I could help you. And then just
Yeah.
bam.
Yeah,
just
you-
hit it once
Fuck
with a
you.
hammer.
And then just bam.
Yeah, you strike it once with a hammer. There is a clap of thunder, just and it just blows apart, disappears. This is exactly what radiant damage was designed to do, right? Like repel and destroy evil, negative energy things. So you smack them once. There's a burst of radiant energy, and it is just destroyed.
Beautiful.
There you go. The ghost is banished. See you later, ghost.
Yeah, I kind of shake my head and I guess disbelief. I'm starting to rummage through the corpses that are here to see if they have anything on them.
I think they probably have like a handful of coins here and there. They have their weapons, which are poisoned. But nothing of significant value.
Okay. I'll turn back. Are you good to continue after all this nonsense?
I'm fine.
Berg, 10 pillars.
Yes.
Well, as I said, Berg, you're always one of few words, so you could see why we didn't know that you were possessed. Hopefully you're not upset about that.
I saw you guys noticing, but you didn't pursue it. Ramus should have known. I can understand you haven't known me as long,
You got
but
drunk.
Ramus,
How is he supposed to know?
as I said, you have not known me as long. So really, you cannot speak on this matter. Whatever,
Fair enough.
it's
That's
done.
between you and him. I start to like walk up the forest, up the mountain more.
Yeah.
Did you
Yeah,
tie
yeah.
the
It's like,
corpse
all right.
back on you?
Yeah. That's what
Yeah.
I walk over to the corpse. I get it situated. Maybe ask you to help.
Yeah.
Tie the knots and whatnot. And start to move up the corpse or the mountain. Sorry, with the corpse.
What were the stats again, too, that the old man affected? Obviously, intelligence or something like that.
Yeah, it was
Right,
your
that's
wisdom,
seven.
charisma, and intelligence. So those revert
Gotcha,
back
okay.
to
So they were
Berg's
8,
own.
7, and 6, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Such lovely stats.
Mhm,
-1,
mhm.
-2, -2.
Yeah, that's all right. Berg doesn't. It's not as if you changed, right? It's not as if you like became really smart and now you're. It's not a Flowers for Algernon type situation here or anything. You watched someone else pilot your body and now you have it back.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Okay. So following Maharib, you continue up towards the fortress of the Embers of Imix.
Just as an aside, as we're walking to Ramus, I go, I wonder, just out of curiosity, if we do manage to put a soul back in that body, I wonder if she'll remember being possessed by that ghost.
I don't think this situation has ever come up before. A spirit possessing a body that's never had a soul. It would be an interesting experiment.
I just wonder if that's if the possession is easier, or if there's a way that
Make a
person can
make a
fight it
religion check.
off. Okay.
The two of you are having a conversation that would 100% just trigger a religion check. Do it with advantage because you're both talking about it. Okay.
29.
So here's the thing. Let's talk about putting souls in stuff. It can be done. Magic weapons are a thing, right? That have like sentient magic weapons are a thing. They're also massively blasphemous because you're essentially taking a soul and you are saying your journey is done. You are going to be this thing forever, right? So most stories about those weapons or those items are like, you know, Johnny and the magic sword, and Johnny finds a magic sword in the swamp and the magic sword talks to him and he becomes a hero or whatever. But those stories always end with the items being broken, right? It's always like Johnny realized that the magic sword was blasphemous and he threw it in the fire and the soul captured within was able to go back to heaven. And then Johnny got a magic bonus because the angel was like, thank you, Johnny. You realized you didn't need the sword after all. Blessed are you. Thank you. And they fly away, right? Like that's the morality of it, is like souls belong in bodies, not anywhere else. Golems, illegal. Constructs with capable thought with souls in them, also illegal. All that stuff, massively blasphemous and not okay. So there is practice available. There are necromancers, there are enchanters that can learn this forbidden knowledge and they can put a soul into an item. And it's almost always the soul of a human sacrifice, because that's the most powerful kind of soul, is a human soul. This is, for you, 10 Pillars, this is like kind of a blasphemous concept, this idea of like, but then it wasn't really a person to begin with. So like, you're not taking a soul from the cycle. You're doing something else instead. There's some gray area here that's been debated for like thousands of years by priests and by wizards and by the Sahir, stuff like that. So Yeah, that's what you would know about soul transference. It's possible, but it requires fell magic. So done very sparingly. Yeah.
Well, I have you
That's
here,
what you know.
Mr. Master Krill. About what you said to the Dragon Rider. You're of the mind that heaven must fall? Did I hear that right?
More or less.
It's not a good answer.
I know that sounds. I was you once. Well trained in the practice of heaven's teachings. Heaven is all knowing, almighty, never wrong. But I was sent on a journey. I was at the beginning a selfish, horrible person, and then I died. And ever since I came back, the truth has been given to me little by little from minor occurrences, interactions, beliefs, meeting new people, for knowledge of what is true. And I have slowly changed because my knowledge of the world as what is true has changed. And heaven has been lying to us from the beginning. And I know that sounds a horrible statement to say, but it's what's happened to me.
What is this truth you refer to that you've discovered, Master Krill?
Well, for one, there weren't always souls. Heaven invented them. And if there weren't always souls, that means there was a time when we didn't have them or need them. Therefore, whatever reason they have now for why we have them can't be true.
I've heard similar things, but normally from people coming out the other side of a enhanced experience with different chemicals or plants, that kind of thing. That I understand because the mind wanders and does strange things when it's affected by certain items, certain elements. But you don't seem that kind.
I grab your face and I hold you to me, and I'm just like, look in my eyes. I am not insane. I have walked the land of shadow. I have seen the other side, the darkness. I've stared into the void that shouldn't exist. I have talked to the gods that have told us that souls are not real. Heaven is lying to us, and the reason we don't know why. You have to believe me that I believe this is to be true, and I am not crazy.
I'm gonna go ahead and roll on that.
Yeah, just put an insight check in there, 10 pillars.
Let's see. 23 is the lowest I can roll.
23. Okay. So Ramus believes everything that he is saying, right? You have no reason to think that he's dissembling or lying to you. I'll leave it up to you to judge whether he's crazy or not. He certainly doesn't think that he is. Yeah, he's not trying to like manipulate or deceive you. It's all true from him.
And you see like a concerned look cross 10 Pillars' face. You're not, unless you are the best liar that ever was, or You're kind of crazy that I haven't seen, and I've seen my share.
Mm-hmm.
I believe you, Ramus Krill. I'm not a person who's easily scared. And that scares me.
Fear is what you should be feeling. Because if they know what we know, what I know, they will probably try to stop me from telling the world. But I started this journey with delusions of grandeur of being a powerful worship figure, but I realized over time this is not my destiny. I have been shown these truths for a reason. I have to free the people. I have to tell them the truth. I need to make them see. Not for me, but for them.
You know, one of those people that's would try to stop you would be me.
I know. But
Does that worry you at all?
This is the part where I imagine, like, when you're like, one of those people that's going to try and stop you is me, and that's when Berg snaps your neck. Like,
yeah.
And that's why we can never allow that to happen. 10 pillars.
That's again the face that Berg makes is the one that you see.
Snap. Berg just leaps out from behind a bush and just kills you.
You see, normally I would fear you because you represent heaven, but I don't believe that you are my enemy. I believe we were pushed together because you're going to be very important, not for me, but for the truth to spread.
I have a question for you, Ramus Krill. And then I will
Anything.
ponder things we have discussed. If not for the fountain, if not for the tower, whatever you have served in the past, where does your magic come from now when you call for it?
My power comes from the place all power, even the fountain, comes from. The elementals of the world. For I believe heaven is the elementals. They've just lost their way, and they need to be brought back into harmony with the others.
So you're saying that the cave
Ramus,
dwellers and the mountain people and all those people, they have the right of it. And we,
No.
the civilized bunch, the ones who make cities and towns and bridges and roads, we have it wrong.
You don't have it wrong. You just don't have the whole picture. You are seeing it through the way they want you to see it. They don't want you to know the whole truth about what they are. If you see the truth for yourself, and you don't have to believe me, if you stay with me long enough, you will see the answers come at me always. You will witness things that you shouldn't know. Walk my path with me. You'll see.
Very well, Master Krill. If I'm not called away to other matters, I'll follow.
All I ask is you be open-minded.
Yeah, so
You
like
don't
a couple of, I was gonna say just a couple of really quick like points in terms of the way these two characters are interacting, right? So first of all, obviously both of you take inspiration for this little conversation. The thing I wanted to bring up is this idea of truth, right? So most people don't care about what's true and what's not true, right? The search for truth is a kind of Western philosophical idea that we're like applying to this. Most people want to understand their destiny. They want to know what path the gods have set out for them. That's the closest to truth anyone gets. And then what Ramus is talking about here would be like a much more foreign concept. The idea that there are things that are true because they are true, not because a god made them true or because heaven made them true, right? Like truth, lowercase t, is the will of heaven, right? Like I lost my job and my husband divorced me and I crashed my goat wagon into a river. That is true because heaven said so, right? And as long as that was part of my destiny, awesome, I'm doing great. I'm sad, I have no job, and I don't have a goat or a cart, but this is what heaven wants for me, so things are good. The idea of underlying truth, what we would almost consider like science, underlying truth is much less interesting to people, right? Because truth doesn't help them feel better about losing their goat or their husband or their job, right? They don't care about the truth. They just want to know, how can I make the universe nice to me again? And the way you do it is praying, seeing a fortune teller, right? Understanding those things. So the idea that Ramus is having here is like pretty revolutionary from a philosophical perspective. And so usually like you said, Tim Pillars, usually people that talk like this, they are arrested or they're actually crazy and they end up like putting harm to themselves. Like the fact that Ramus actually seems like a pretty together guy for all of the things he's seen is unusual to you for sure.
Yeah. No, I just imagine like 10 Pillars having, being an ambassador, like traveling everywhere and seeing all kinds of things. Like I've heard these ramblings before, but it's usually from people on the street talking to themselves and then like, then eventually like looking at you and saying like, you don't know the behind this, all this Illuminati, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, right.
That kind of shit. It's usually from those kind of people and from someone who's as well put together, powerful and intelligent as Ramus.
And that's the thing, right? Like Ramus is still praying and something is still answering, but he doesn't seem like priests that lose their faith, lose their prayers. They lose their power.
Yeah.
Heaven stops answering them. So that's weird. And what he's saying is like, nah, dude, the power is there. You just simply like an apple tree, just pluck it from the branch and you too can have power, right? It's everywhere. It's in everything. Yeah. So, yeah.
I'm gonna need Ramus to start adopting a hippie voice. Just takes everyone. It's all free, man. It's all out there.
You don't know, man. You don't even know, man.
Can you ever look at like
harmony?
Can you even like own a tree, man? This
you
is
ever
your
looked
tree.
at a gold
it's nature's
piece,
tree.
Man? There's shit going on in a gold piece, man. You don't even know. Look at it deeper, man.
Ultimately,
water your soul and it grows.
You'll know that Ramus his truth will come true when everyone finally learns to paint with all the colors of the wind. But for now, things are how they are. Yeah.
Well, and I like. Did you have a goal or something, Ramus, about 10 Pillars?
Turn 10 Pillars into an ally of harmony.
Okay.
Yeah. So working on it, but yeah.
Oh
cool.
boy.
Okay. So while the two of them are having this theological conversation, Maharib and Berg, both of whom are like a little bit banged up from that fight, what are the two of you doing? You've got the body back on your back. You've rewrapped the corpse. What are you two doing while they're talking?
I think it's pretty quiet for a while, but then Maharib breaks the silence and so you had a ghost take over? Can't say I've heard of that before. What was it like?
It was not good.
All he did was make you drink, no? What else?
There was more.
Where did you go when we were talking with Gravedirt?
He was an old, pervy man. What do you think he did with my body?
Mahari like starts to smile, but he turns away so that he's not looking at her.
Right, you're just like, a second.
Yeah. You kind of hear like laughter joined with the conversation. What do you mean?
Roll an insight to see, or perception to see if I
I mean, I'm not hiding it very well.
no.
No, that I would like a 5 would probably detect this. I'm not hiding it at all that well. I'm just turning away.
Oh, that's funny. You.
I mean, it got you drunk and showed you a good time. I don't know. I don't see was it freeing at least? Had you ever thought of doing something like that yourself?
You're an idiot.
I didn't get possessed by a ghost, Berg. Sounds like you're the idiot here.
Maybe I will find one to possess you. Let me know how you like it.
Sure. I didn't realize it was a touchy subject, Berg. I apologize.
Like, yeah, and it's perfect too, because Berg, like, it makes sense that Maharib wouldn't understand, because A, Maharib didn't experience it himself, and B, like, both metaphorically and literally, Berg has been so many people's puppet, right? Like, this isn't just about this one ghost making you like touch a boob when you didn't want to touch a boob. Exactly. Yeah. Like Berg has been other people's cat's paw, or literally like had people riding around in his body before, and Maharib hasn't had access to any of that, so he wouldn't know. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to think if Maharib would like make that connection, but I think he doesn't initially, unless Berg does something to like tip it off. But yeah, I think that maybe the conversation stops then, where it's just like, I didn't mean to insult. Carry on. Apologies.
I think, yeah, when he says that, Berg just like, as he like walks away a little bit, like over his shoulder, be like,
You wouldn't understand. You can't.
That just means that you don't want to explain. It's an excuse. We're not too far now.
Okay. And then Maharib, you lead everybody on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So there's no further trouble, no further interruption or chaos. You don't see another dragon flying around in the last few days as you move slowly out of the hilly area, right? The trees become more and more sparse until eventually you are in the kind of highlands, right? You're in the mountains itself. And so there is a bit of that sort of clambering in places, but you're not in as much of a rush as Maharib was the first time. So it takes longer, but there's much less like strain. Everybody gets a chance to like long rest on the way. So you get all your hit points and everything back. And you eventually you reach an area that is familiar to everybody except 10 pillars. So you 10 pillars, you're following Maharib through the mountains. They seem featureless, right? Like every mountain you've ever been to, especially in a place like this, has like ruins, right? Ancient dwarven ruins. Mountains everywhere in the world have them. So you see some of those, and maybe you note how they're different from the way they are in the Court of Coins. But it's pretty desolate up here, and you just around when you're about to start thinking like, where are we going? Like, what's happening here? You come around a bend and you see a valley, and what you see before you is a set of doors set into the wall of the cliff, like a cliffside in this little valley. So you see the set of doors, and in front of them there is a stone platform that is very badly burned. You can see scorch marks all around it. And there is some kind of like statue or something like an art installation, a sculpture of twisted iron. It looks almost like a cage that's like been partly melted and like torn apart. And so you see that sitting in front of this enormous set of doors. And Maharib is walking up like, this is nothing. Like he's just like, yep, this is it. We've seen this place. This is the place I was taking you. And they're walking. You see everybody kind of walking towards that.
So this is it,
Yes, hurry up. They're waiting for us, I'm sure.
And I just take stock of where I am and move on.
Yeah, so I'm probably first in the door. And
Yeah. So you approach and you want to just like knock, or do you just open the door and go in?
I just opened the door at this point.
Okay. Yeah. So you come up and you grab the ring and pull the door open, and everybody heads inside. Yep. So the interior of this place, again, Berg and Ramus, you've been here before, right? So it's familiar to you. There's like a wide hall. There are structures. I think we talked about how this was originally like a dwarven enclave. So it has this kind of like Yeah. Dwarves do this. They do this thing where, because they're small, but they used to like have a lot of guests. People would come and like give them offerings, and you know, back in the day, they would have like other tribes that would come and they'd have people visit. So everything is built quite grandly, but anything that isn't just like the pure stone architecture of the place has either been brought down or long since looted from this place. So big open hallway. There are, not everyone can see in the dark, so there are braziers with flames like burning in them. Everything in here is red or like dark brown, all warm colors, and there's lots of fire, lots of torches and candles, and so it's quite warm in here despite being like an enormous cave. So you come in, and Maharib, here's the thing, nobody is around. Like, there's no one in the hallway. You don't hear any talking. You don't hear, it's literally like you're walking into a dungeon, but someone left the lights on.
Right. I just assume that everyone's further down where we were. Maybe
there's usually like guards.
Oh boy.
Okay. I mean, I don't like jump to extremes, but I definitely think that they're further down. So that's the path that I'll go.
Yeah. Okay.
I like to look around and make sure there's not like blood or like signs of battle around.
Make a perception check.
Can I do a little investigating? See what happens?
Yeah. See, this is one of those situations where it's like you have no clues, so I don't know if investigation counts.
Yeah, so only I would know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, was there a skirmish? Was there like fighting?
This
or
is
anything
the thing.
Like
That's what Dan is asking for. Like, so here's the thing. If Ramus finds something interesting, he could point it out, and 10 pillars, you could be like, investigation check, and like learn from it. So there's no clues yet. So Ramus, you wanna take a quick glance around?
Yeah, just to see if like there's signs of struggle or something happening here. Just like I would expect
17.
someone to be here. Yeah.
No, there's just nobody around. Like, you look around and like you peer into one of the windows or into one of the doors, and you see like a meeting room with like a table and some chairs around it. Nobody in there. There's just like, there's nothing. There's nothing around here.
You said they were here, right, Maharib?
Yeah, I'm sure they're downstairs. Yes, they were. I'm sure they're downstairs. Let's not jump to any conclusions.
I hope you're right.
I'm sure.
You said Doug was here. I could really go for some.
He was. I'm sure he's still downstairs. Let's go find them. No need.
Those noodles are good.
Go along.
It's been a hard day.
So what you know as a group, what you know about this place is there's this initial hallway, and there are these big, they used to be like sculpture galleries and like kind of places that you would bring guests to like show off. There's those, and this is on the main level. And then the next level down is where most of the people live, and there's like the kitchen and all that down there. And then below that, there are a bunch of like abandoned levels that are still getting cleared. And then way down below, there's all the volcanic vents and the hot spring that you saw, Maharib. There's like a lot to this. And even the Embers of Imix have not cleared more than a few levels. There are like sealed areas down below. So yeah, when you come in, it looks after like, I don't know, an hour of searching this upper level, nobody up here. None of the rooms have anyone in them. There's no sign of anybody at all.
Okay. I'm still thinking they're further down. So that's where I start to lead everyone.
Yeah. Okay. So you're going to go down to the next level? All right.
Yeah.
So when you head down this stone staircase onto the second level, and same as above, everything is like well lit. There's nobody around. Maybe you even peer into some of the rooms where people people have been sleeping, abandoned, and seemingly nobody there.
And Adam, are like all their stuff still there, or like they're
everybody's stuff is they don't look like it doesn't look like they've fled.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that as you continue searching through this area, the closer you get to the sort of communal like hall, to where the kitchen, there's like an area where food is prepared, and then an area where everyone goes to eat. And as you get closer to that, maybe you come around a corner, you hear echoing quietly from a distance. You hear like a rhythmic, like a pounding sound. You hear this like at a distance, like quite quick, but far away, muffled through the stone, like it's echoing off the stone.
Does it sound like chanting, or does it sound like someone's like clinging against something?
You just hear like rhythmic, like percussive, like thumping.
Okay. They're probably a ritual or something. Let's continue. Let's not.
Trying to get creepy, Maharib.
I mean,
Something feels off.
I'm sure it's fine. Trust me, I was here several days ago. And
Do you want to head towards the sound?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So yeah, it gets louder as you get closer, and then suddenly, as you're heading down the hallway, it's suddenly like there's like the pounding, and it gets faster. It's like, and it becomes like a cacophony, a bunch of sound. One sound becomes a bunch, and then it stops, and you hear a scream of like pain. Maybe you hear somebody like shout in pain at a distance, and it's not that far. It echoes off the walls. It sounds like it's coming from the like communal hall.
I would probably like go into a sprint and start running towards it.
To dash and
if it sounds like
okay.
a perilous, like I'm in danger type scream.
Yeah, it sounds like pain. Make an insight check. Let's see if you can figure out what the hell this. It's a single like shriek. Yeah, okay. So nothing more than sounds like pain.
Yeah. Okay,
so the group of you want to run up and check it out?
Yep. Yeah, I
okay. All right. So you dash. Does anybody? So Berg, 10 Pillars, Ramus, you gonna like run alongside? Maharib starts like running, right? Sprints off towards the source of the sound. Do you all follow?
I'll go with
that
him
pace.
just so he's not alone. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a fast boy.
Okay.
Not to be a shit, but I'll follow, but I won't. I don't think I'm gonna like dash and run.
Yeah, you're gonna come a little more
This-
cautiously.
You don't care. You never cared, 10 Pillars.
Yeah,
doesn't know.
I don't know what's
He doesn't know how
happening
good
down
those noodles
there.
are.
Like
Those
Yeah,
noodles are
those
amazing.
fucking noodles, and
All
they
right.
only serve them till
So-
5 p.m. and it's 4:53.
Let me describe what you see when you come around the corner to the main hall, right? So come around the corner, you see first that the central table where everyone comes and sits, the central table has another table that has been placed or a platform placed on top of it. And there are 2 chairs, one on either side of this table that's been placed on top of the table. 2 chairs. On this platform, there is, I guess, there's one bowl and there's steam coming off of it. On the floor next to it, there's another bowl and there's some reddish liquid splattered all over the table. The room is full of people, right? Everybody in the whole place is like jammed into this room, and they're all standing around this table, looking at the table, and that pounding sound is like fists on the table. Standing next to that upper table, the one that's been placed on top, the little platform, there are two members of the Embers of Imix. One has both hands over his head, and he's like shouting and putting them up in the air. The other is holding their stomach while somebody else is like patting their back and like consoling them. And then there's a shout, a roar from the crowd as you walk in. A roar from the crowd. Everybody cheers, and the guy holding his stomach gets like taken away. And the other guy, who's like sweaty and like red faced with his hands over his head, he shouts, like, he doesn't see you. Nobody notices you come in. He shouts to the crowd. He's like, "Who else will challenge me? I am the greatest." And like there's some like cheering, and he turns and he looks into the crowd and he's like, "Doug, another round and bring me a challenger." And there's more like shouting and laughing, and I think no one notices you. They're all watching this like hot noodle eating contest as you come in, and none of them have seen you.
I think once I know that, I kind of like keel over and take a big breath, and then step back up, and I think I just push Berg forward as if for people to like notice him, but also as he's the next challenger.
What do you do, Berg?
Oh yeah, I'm about it. Berg's just smiling.
So what do you? No one notices you. No one even knows you're there. So Mahari gives you a little encouraging shove, like, you can do it. Go on.
Yeah.
And I bring up the rear, and I ask Remus, what is happening?
Well, St. Doug's noodles are being tested to see who is the strongest and can withstand them.
Withstand them how? Like,
so when you say that, Tempos, when you say withstand them how, we hear a chant start in the crowd. You hear it quietly first, right? We hear Doug, 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 Doug. And from the back, from another door, someone opens a door, and we see someone come out, but it's hard to tell who it is because he's got this big apron on, this big leather apron. He's got leather gloves up to his elbows. He's wearing a pair of goggles, like glass goggles, and he's holding in front of him a bowl. It's a ceramic bowl. And in it, there is a almost neon red like film of sauce on top. And there's like wafts of heat coming off, and he's holding it at a distance. And everyone's like, Doug, as he like walks up, like balancing this bowl. And then somebody helps him up onto the table, and he sets it down in front of this guy who is, I'll give you a better impression of him. So he's big, right? Big, like bald guy, big belly. He's taking his shirt off because he's so like hot. He's got beads of sweat all over every bit of his skin, and his eyes are all like swollen and red, and there's tears like streaming down his cheeks. And he's taking these big gulping breaths, and Doug puts the noodles down in front of him, and he makes a face that's somewhere between like readying himself for a challenge and also like fear. But he looks at it and he's like, "Yes. Who will be next?" And he looks at the crowd, and everybody's kind of awkwardly looking at each other like, "I don't know. I can't take on, Corlon the Eater." So how do you announce your arrival here, Berg?
The funny thing,
shout like,
that's what like I would love to step in, because I've seen this. I made him a dish, and we ate together.
Mm-hmm,
I've seen him like put down spicy shit that almost killed me.
Mm-hmm.
And I spent like 40 gold getting that shit together. So when I see this coming on, I look at Remus and Maharib, and I wink at them like, and I like clap Berg on the back hard or on the shoulder. I have the man. But he's not a man. He's a beast. He's a god.
Right. So when you say that, everybody in the room turns, right? Because they're like, it's that quiet moment of like, I'm not going to volunteer. You're going to volunteer? Come on, somebody. And then everyone turns, and there's a moment of total silence, right? And it's broken by the sound of a young girl who shouts, "Metal arms!" And then everybody starts like, everybody starts cheering and shouting, and they're like, Berg's back, and like there's yelling, and they all turn to see you, and immediately like the closest members of the cult, like they come over and they start like hugging like Berg and Ramus and like slapping you guys on the back and being like, oh, welcome home, and like immediately. And then Corlon up on the table, he shouts, enough! I have heard a challenge. And he looks down, he looks right at you, Berg, and he says, well, come on up here. And gestures for you to like come up on the table with him.
Yeah. Berg steps on up there.
Okay. Yeah, so you stepped on the table. There's more shouting. There was no like, yeah, Berg, like, cool. And you come over, and I think I don't think you ever had a conversation with Corlon, but he recognizes you, and he comes over, and he puts his hand out to like shake your hand, right, to grab your arm, give you the like warrior's handshake. Do you do it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, he's very sweaty, and like hot to the touch. And Corlon's a human. He's not a genasi. So you shake his hand, and you like touch his sweaty arm. And he notices you noticing your hand is all damp now, and he laughs, and he says, 5 bowls in a row. Oh, I'm going to regret this day. But we're not done yet. And he looks down at the table, and he says, Doug has made this for us a test of true warriors. You know, Berg, I thought for a long time, and he like puts his arm around you, and he gestures at the crowd, and he says, I thought for a long time I was doomed to a life of ignominy. I would never have glory or honor. I cannot fight. I cannot craft. I have no skill of a poet or a musician. But this day, Berg, I have found my glory. And he points at the bowl, and he says, it is all because of Doug. And now it is my honor to challenge you in the arena. And he gestures at the table. The arena of my belly. And he like pats his stomach. And he says, I've been eating this shit all day long. It's going to be a rough one on the first time for you. But I salute you. And he like gives you like a big aggressive salute. And he hugs you and like slaps you on the back. And the crowd is just like shouting like, hooray! Someone to challenge Corlon the Eater. And he gestures to the seat. And he says, please sit.
Poor Corlon, I almost want to lose on purpose. This is all he's got.
So Adam, just real quick, since like the whole thing about being the expert sidekick class, like the help action is like the whole thing. Like is like I have like 3 things that are like all just help actions. And I'm wondering if I can rile up the crowd and get them shouting like Berg the Beast. Berg the Beast, Berg the Beast, and it's like the help action says, creature you aid gains advantage on the next ability check it makes to perform the task you are helping with. And I'm wondering, like, if it's a Constitution save or something like that to eat these noodles or something like that.
Yeah, to eat the noodles, it'll be a series of competitive Constitution saves. Okay. But if you're getting the crowd riled up. And this is the thing, right? You can choose to do this. You can't, normally you wouldn't be able to be like, give Berg a pep talk and then he needs like you can't help him make Constitution saves normally. But I like the idea of you being like, I can't make it easier for you to eat these noodles, but I'm going to get the crowd riled up so you're going to feel better about it and be more likely to succeed. I think that's fine. I think that works.
Okay.
Yeah, so you want to try and do that? Get everybody all fired
absolutely.
up?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Everybody fired up.
Make a performance check.
He pulls a bottle of Pepto out of nowhere.
Drink this, Berg.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
It's a pep talk. Yeah, it's short for Pepto-Bismol talk.
Pepto talk.
Okay, so you get. So here's the thing: you're working a crowd that already has a favorite, right? They've watched Corlon the Eater become Corlon the Eater. He used to be Corlon the Useless. So now they're all just like they're ready for another win. They want to watch the big guy take down another challenger. But some percentage is ready for a change. Some people are like, yeah, new guy. I mean, Berg. And there are a few people who know and like Berg already, right? So you get some people fired up, and Berg, you see this, right? You see 10 pillars, like getting everybody kind of riled up. And Doug, who has gone back to the kitchen to get another bowl, comes back, and same thing, holding it at a distance. He places it on the table in front of you, Berg, and then he pulls his glasses up. And his goggles, when he peels them off of his face, you can see it's like he has a sunburn on the rest of his face, except for where the goggles were. And he leans over and he's like, "Hey, Berg, it's good to see you again." And he looks at the bowl. "You're going to want to be real careful with this. I've been experimenting with some new recipes. These people love it hot, I got to tell you. Hey, you're an orc. You know how it goes." And he like slaps you on the shoulder. "I got to warn you, though. It's like a dry heat. Good luck." And he like hops down from the table and he walks away, and with his like mad scientist gloves on, he just like watches. He's just like, "Oh yeah, here we go. This is gonna be great." Yeah. So when you sit down, when you look at the bowl set in front of you, I think we get a close up of your eyes, and immediately your eyes start to water. And we watch your eyelashes like curl a little from the like heat rising off of this stuff. Just looking at it is making your eyeballs sweat. So yeah, what are you gonna do?
I'm down to. He looks at the bowl, looks at Corlon, is like,
Well, I suppose I should go first. Only fair.
And
he
looks at.
he looks across Corlon, looks across the table at you, and he shakes his head and he says, "Nonsense. We drank at the same time." And he picks up the bowl and he holds it out to you as if to be like, to cheers, to clink your bowls together.
Yep. Or does the same thing.
And then, yeah, and he looks at you, and he has the look of a man who's about to like jump out a window or like fall off a ship or something. Like he's just like, okay, and he just starts drinking the broth and just letting the noodles pour into his mouth, and they're like pouring down his face and like just trying to slurp the whole bowl. What does it look like when you do it? Do you just like, because you're bigger than him? Describe Berg quaffing these noodles.
Yeah, I think it's very much in the sense of like a Dragon Ball Z, like Goku taking down, like he's just going to town. Not only that, because he's just really hungry. He doesn't even care if it hurts or not. He's just happy to see Doug and get some of his noodles because they taste delicious, whether or not they're scalding or not. So he's just excited.
Yeah, so we cut from the shot focusing on the two of you as you're drinking. We cut down into the crowd, and Maharib, bye. See you later. We see a woman watching Maharib. He may not even notice. So we see this woman. We've seen her before. It's the shaman Vani. And we see her. She's got her arms folded over her chest, and she's looking at Maharib, and then looking at the body on Maharib's back, and kind of like we can see her trying to figure out what the hell. Like they came back, but apparently Maharib has made a new friend, and so she's eyeballing Maharib while this is happening, but from behind, so he can't see her. Let's see how that contest goes. So Berg, I believe you have advantage on your Constitution save, in this regard. And I'm gonna roll for. This is the one thing this guy is good at doing, so I'm gonna give him a good bonus. It's the only. He's a commoner otherwise.
Listen,
so I'm gonna
if
roll.
He wins, it's a good day for Corlon, and you know what? There's no losing
That's
here.
right.
There's no losing. All right,
Okay,
fine.
here we go. So you got a 15.
Oh, 15. Okay.
All right.
It's not good.
Corlon got a 20. So what does it look like? Like, is it just the noodles are too hot for even you, or do you like? I'm totally down with if you want to like throw it and nobody knows.
Yeah,
but
I
Corlon
think it's
is
gonna
good.
be-
He just like chugs the whole bowl, swallows the cluster of noodles whole, and then he's looking over his bowl at you to see your reaction. So what happens with Berg?
Yep. I think Berg, like he drinks it and he's like okay, and he could probably stomach it if he wants to, but he sees like he stares at Corlon for a moment, like like thinking, squinting his eyes, like trying to weather the storm that just happened,
Mm-hmm.
And there's that moment where he could, push it down, and then he sees Corlon really excited. And he's just like, just gives it up.
Yeah, so you just like knock the bowl over and kind of flail around a little. Are you trying to make it look like dramatic? Is this like a kid pretending to get stabbed? Like, oh, I'm dead, and like flailing around? Like, I want to see if there's a performance aspect to this.
Yeah, you could say he's hamming it up just a little bit. Yeah, for sure. And if people,
yeah, make a performance check.
I hope it's good. I'm charisma based. God damn it! All right, not gonna be good. It's not gonna be good.
So you get an 8. Here's what happens, right? And this is great, and this is a perfect opportunity to kind of speak to like the community and how they act. So you knock the bowl over, and you're like, oh, it's so hot, and everybody, instead of being like cheering for Corlon or being like, haha, Berg got destroyed, they all start laughing, but they laugh like. They're not laughing at you. They're not like, haha, Berg's such an idiot. They're just like Berg lost and is losing in a funny way. And Corlon looks at you and you see him, you see gratitude in his eyes, right? Where he's just like, he sees what you're doing and that you're playing it up. And I think you get the impression, maybe Berg doesn't notice this, but Ramus, I think your sort of passive human understanding meter is so strong that like everyone in the room is all in on the fun together, right? That like everyone knows Berg won, right? But we're all playing the like, yeah, Corlon, you're so awesome. You even beat Berg, and we know what a cool, tough guy he is. But everyone also knows, even Corlon also knows, like, you didn't really beat Berg, but like, it's okay. So the narrative is just like all about Corlon, and you kind of ham it up, and everybody laughs. And Corlon comes over, and he slaps you on the back, and he grabs your wrist, and he holds your wrist up in the air, and everybody cheers. And there's a lot of laughing. And while this is happening, I think this is where Vani comes up to you, Maharib, while everybody is like shouting and cheering. And she comes up to you and kind of quietly, so only you can hear her. She says, came back. You brought a friend. She looks at the dead body that you kind of have like, I guess probably you're not holding it on your back anymore. Maybe you have it in your arms.
Yeah, I recognize who it is. Like she's beside me, not behind me or anything.
Yeah,
like that.
she was behind you, watching you, and then she steps up to talk to you. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Then while still keeping an eye on all of that, not looking at her or anything, I just like blanket statements say like, I need a favor.
And she squints. Okay.
We'll talk soon. Let's enjoy the moment.
Yeah, and she smiles and she just puts her hand on like the side of your arm. Like she just touches you for like reassurance, right? To just be like, of course. And she smiles at you and there's no mistaking the smile. It's a I'm glad to see you, like I'm glad you're back smile.
Sure.
And then she turns and she laughs because she sees Berg like wobbling around on the table, and we see her cover her face and like giggle. And I think Corlon and Berg, you are both brought down off the other side of the table. Lots of people like slapping you on the back and laughing and like doing that thing where it's like, oh, like it was so hot. And like, I couldn't do that, Berg. You're so brave. And like everybody kind of like laughing about that. And slowly the energy goes from we were all gathered for a competition to like, let's all get drunk and eat and like hang out. Right. Like, so it becomes kind of a celebratory, like everybody's sitting around talking and drinking. Somebody brings out a bunch of wine and starts passing it around. And I think pretty quickly we like through this sort of party like vibe, this feeling of like a feast, we come to the group of you and you've been sat together. You've been clustered around the end of a table with Awut and Vani. And I think you're being introduced, right? Everybody's sitting and being given food. Berg, someone brings you like a big thing of goat milk to drink, you know, in case you need it. So you, 10 Pillars, you're introduced to what you would guess at a glance are the two most important members of this community. There's like less than 100 people here total, and they're all in this room right now. And they seem to be people who there's a pretty good mix of like families, right? There's kids, there's adults, there's some elderly. They don't appear to have like a dedicated like warrior class. Like they're all kind of dressed in similar clothes. And if they have priests, they're not dressed like any priest you've ever seen. And in fact, when Awut, who is the leader of the community, he introduces his sister, who's definitely not his sister, but he calls her that, Vani, he introduces her as the High Shaman's apprentice. And Vani like nods and introduces herself to you. And so the group of you are sitting around eating some less nuclear version of whatever Doug made. And Doug is back in the kitchen making food for everybody. So Awut we probably fade into this conversation with him saying, when Maharib left, I wasn't sure I was going to see him or any of you again. I'm glad that you're here. Things have been escalating since you left. And he says this to like Ramus and Berg, not like since you left Maharib, but like since last time I saw all of you. We've had more and more skirmishes with the forces of the Mara. They've been sending expeditions up into the mountains, just scoping things out for now. But there've been fights here and there. We haven't lost anyone, thank the Fire Lord, but it's just a matter of time. I don't think they know that we're up here, but shakes his head. They're a plague, a swiftly spreading plague. I'd prefer if they continued to spread right on past us. And he turns to you, Maharib. Do you have any news from the monastery? What's going on down there?
No news. At least not now. We came here on another errand, unfortunately. It's not a...
He turns and he says, Sister Vani told me. It sounds like what you're facing is difficult. She didn't tell me everything, but and he puts his hand to his chest and he says, I'm sorry about the loss that you've suffered. If there is anything that the Embers can do to help you, you know we will.
And that's probably the first time maybe anyone or the three of you guys have heard any sense of like sadness about any of that, because I've never expressed any of it to the three of you. So I'm doing just fine. We're here on another matter of death, though, and maybe I've like set the corpse down near us. But
yeah, I imagine because you're all sitting and eating, so there's like a corpse. So when you say that, when you're like, no, I'm fine, Vani puts a hand on top of yours on the table, like just gently, and she says, you don't have to be fine. For whatever measure of safety is available to us in this world, you'll find it here. Your enemies don't know about this place. You're safe, Maharib. And she gestures around. You see all these people talking and laughing and drinking and stuff together, like these families. And then she takes her hand away, like, she doesn't want to push you. And I think that moment is quiet enough that if you were looking at the two of them, you'd notice it. But Awut continues talking.
Yeah.
And so he turns to you, 10 Pillars, and that conversation is like, he says, I understand that you're an emissary from the Court of Coins. You've come south. If you don't mind my asking, Magistrate, what is your purpose in these lands?
I don't mind. I was sent here to try and negotiate a laying down of arms between, their court and our court. And it went about as well as I expected. They're very confident where they stand, their strength. And they do have a command of the dead, so that's all they really want is more dead.
And you see him like looking at you, kind of taking the measure of you, and he frowns. I don't mean any offense. What I am going to ask my friends, I want you to understand, It is simply because I don't know you. I'm not implying you are not worthy of trust, but... And he turns to Maharib and Berg and Ramus and gestures to you. And he's not talking as if you weren't here, but it's clearly not meant for you to answer. He says, you three are friends. We are flames from the same fuel. Your presence here is blessed by the Fire Lord. Do you trust this man? This 10 pillars of gold?
I don't know him that well, if I'm speaking honestly. And I say that towards 10 pillars, not towards Abu. But Ramus has spent some time with him. Berg was possessed by a ghost. Don't ask him about it.
Berg, Vani, the shaman, she gives you a look that is... Well, make an insight check real quick for me, Berg. Okay. When Maharib says, like, Berg was possessed by a ghost, she looks at you. And we'll see what you pick up from that glance.
Well, there it is. Boop.
How do I insight?
I'm so insightful.
Okay,
man.
So
listen, these are all things I'm not good at.
No, I know, right?
Never have.
I'll let you misinterpret the glance however you like. But she looks pointedly at you when Maharib says that. And then Awut looks to Ramus like, well, Maharib says that you know this 10 pillars. Do you trust this man, right? So he turns to you.
I trust that he wants to eliminate the enemy of our collective enemy. That you can trust in. He wants to get rid of the Mara.
So I think there's a glance that gets shared between Awut and Vani. And then instead of Awut saying anything to you, 10 pillars, Vani turns and looks at you. And you see in her amber eyes, you see a flicker. There is a fire there, like literally you see a flicker of flame in her eyes as she smolders at you a moment, locks eyes with you, and she leans in. And I need you to make a wisdom saving throw, please, 10 pillars of gold.
Okay. 16.
Okay. I'm going to ask you a question. I'm asking you this as the DM, but the answer to the question will be made clear to Vani. Now, this may be something that 10 Pillars knows. Like, this may be a conscious thought. It may be something that Vani learns that even 10 Pillars does not know. So what is the thing that fuels the flames of your desire? What do you want most in the whole world, 10 Pillars?
What do I want most in the whole world?
Yeah, what does 10 Pillars want more than anything else? And I'm asking Zeke because 10 Pillars might not know. Vani might learn information that 10 Pillars doesn't personally have.
Right.
If somebody used this magic on me, I'm not sure I would know the answer that they got, right?
Honestly, I think what 10 Pillars wants most is to see the Court of Coins become the rulers of all the land.
Mm-hmm.
And institute all that that entails, meaning the laws, the rules, the like good and bad, like whatever like conscription in the army, like if you have to like that stuff.
You're not alone. So 10 pillars of gold, you represent this feeling represents a fairly a rising, as the world becomes more chaotic, this political idea is sort of rising in popularity where, and I don't know, Zeke, you and I can come up with a name for this movement, but like they are movers and shakers of the Court of Coins who are like, listen, the Court of Wands, their major city blew up. Nobody ever talks to anybody in the Court of Cups because they're a bunch of like boat using fisher people no one cares about. The Court of Swords was supposed to have the greatest army and they fucked it up. Guess who's still on top? Court of Coins. Maybe we should just be in charge. There was an emperor once, and he's one of ours, right? Fae ruled all the land from one end of the universe to the other. Maybe it's time for us to like shepherd our siblings into the future, right? Yeah. And Imperial restorationists. It's a
dark thought. It's not something that he likes to talk about, but it's something that's definitely in him that says, like, I mean, for lack of a better quote, like, accept our yoke and be free.
Right. Yes. And that's completely a thing. So you're part of a rising political movement in the Court of Coins that agrees with you. There are lots of people who are starting to work on setting that up. So Vani knows this, right? I don't think that you necessarily know she gives you like a deep, intense look that gives you this feeling that she's like staring into your soul. We know that she scrapes your one true desire and learns it for herself, but you maybe don't know that. But so she casts a glance at you. She doesn't say anything.
I also want to make it clear. I want to make it clear that my place in this is just a cog. Like I want to see this
you're
happen,
doing it, right?
But no power of my own. Yeah.
So it's you believe it to be an altruistic, imperialist drive. Yes. So you believe when someone, because there are people amongst this conspiracy who are like, the whole world will benefit when the Court of Coins takes over, but mainly me. It's mainly me that will benefit. But there are people, idealists, who are like, no, but it would actually be good for everyone if we just ran the show. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. Okay. So that moment passes between the two of you. And I think Awut, when so Mahar ABC, I don't know him very well. Ramus talks about him a little bit. Berg, do you have anything to say about 10 Pillars of Gold?
Yeah, I guess when that question's posed, Berg just keeps it pretty simple on.
Well, he's fought with us. Seems to begin to understand what we might be up against and what we're doing. He could have left or tried to stop us. Off to a good start.
So Awut turns to you, 10 Pillars, and says, these three seem to believe that you are worth our trust for now. So you are welcome here. A guest, not a sibling, not yet. There will be areas of our fortress that are off limits to you. Cannot go below this level, not only because it is forbidden, but because it would be dangerous. There are wards in place, magics to keep what is below. We'll find a place for you to rest, for all of you. He turns, of course. You may eat our food, enjoy the hot springs. And he kind of like wrinkles his nose and he's like, you should definitely enjoy the hot springs. And Bonnie laughs and says, but please abide by our rules. Do as you're told. Don't cause trouble.
Of course. I accept your rules, and I am grateful for the roof and for the bed.
He says one thing that you must know that would not occur to you otherwise. It is forbidden to extinguish any burning flame within this place. Whether a candle, a torch, a hearth fire, it must be allowed to burn its course. To do otherwise is to be cursed. You understand?
I do. Is that
good?
And this is not anything other than I'm not trying to make offense, but does that count for this as well?
And yeah, he glances at it and he smiles and he nods and he says, "No flame may be extinguished here."
I will be more careful about what I put in there then. Make sure I have just enough that I want.
And Aut turns back to you, Maharib, and he says, I know that you've come here for a sacred purpose, and there will be time for you and Vani to discuss that. But for now, and he gestures around, you can see like everybody's like obviously just like having a nice time. He says, for now, let us close and lock the doors, spend time among kin, and forget, we can, the troubling world that awaits us outside. Drink, eat. What is ours is yours tonight. And somebody like puts a cup of ale in your hand, and and you hear all this laughter and the sounds of conversation. And if I want to, like, I'll get a quick table read. Like, if there's anything anybody wants to do, like a reaction shot or anything while all this is going on. Otherwise, I think we kind of like fade out there. But yeah, Maharib, do we see anything from you?
If I get handed a glass, like I definitely put it up in the air and like look around the group. And maybe for the first time, you actually see a smile on Maharib's face as he's kind of like looking around the rest of you, is waiting to raise your glasses.
Yeah, or grabs a glass and like just he lets his walls down a lot more than he has in a very long time because it's just been a fucking awful time last day or so or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so he just sees the moment. And he's like, you know what? I'm just going to enjoy this because this doesn't come very often. So yeah, he grabs the glass and clinks with Maharib, maybe gives him like a nod, like a knowing nod, maybe even a nod that like kind of says, you know, like, sorry for being snippy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get one of those.
That.
You get like an Aragorn nod back.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings. So I've got the cup held up.
And just
as like the drink in fucking Ramus's face. He didn't know I was possessed.
And then we start a fight and kill everyone.
Yeah.
And just because this is second nature and this is what I do, you'll see 10 pillars like cheers the group he came with, and then find a particularly loud table and go sit with them and drink with them and hear stories and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So you do that thing where you're like, you do the toast, everybody drinks and stuff. They all start having their smaller conversations, and you like excuse yourself. You're like, I'm gonna go mingle. Excuse me. Like go out into the
do some like subtle recon or whatever.
So what we can do at the beginning of the next session will be like, you can make a roll, and I'll tell you if you like pick up any rumors or like whispers amongst the group. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, I think that's our episode. I think we fade to the credits on the scene of everybody for a moment finding some peace in the fortress of the Embers of Imix.
Awesome stuff.
Ramus doesn't party. He tells everyone that he feels uncomfortable with there not being a guard, so he volunteers to go guard the gate himself because he doesn't feel like partying. Right
cool. Now. So that's our like this episode would have like inter-credit scenes. So while the credits are rolling, we see like Berg and Doug is like showing Berg the kitchen, like, look at this. I lit this whole stove on fire trying to make these noodles. So we have that shot, and then like Maharib and Vani talking, and 10 pillars telling a story to a whole group of people at the table. And then that last shot would be like Ramus. Now, do you actually go to you're like, I don't feel comfortable, I'm gonna watch the door. Do you actually go, or do you go somewhere else?
Yeah, I go up to the front gate and I stand there and keep watch. So they can have a good night.
So that's the last shot, right? Is like Ramus staring at the door, kind of brow furrowed, like worrying about the weight of the world outside while everybody else gets to relax.
One knee up, two suns setting.
Yeah, and then we fade out. Awesome. I love it.
Cool.
Well,
let's do some shout outs, and then we'll do some XP. Zeke, as always, you start us off, sir.
You betcha. Thank you guys very much for showing up today, for watching, for checking it out. My name is Ezekiel the Third. You can find me at /Ezekiel_III. I will be on Drop Frames tomorrow as usual, and then after Drop Frames, I will be continuing my adventures in Outer Wilds. That game really grabbed me. It had a mystery that just like kind of started unraveling, which I'm really excited to get back to, and I'm excited to figure more shit out. It's been a surprising ride. I wasn't sure what to expect, and it's been really cool. So after drop frames tomorrow, I will be playing that, and probably on Thursday, depending on how long the game takes. I have no idea. So I'm going to be playing Outer Wilds until I'm sick of it or until I finish it, and then who knows? We got lots of old games backed up, so maybe we'll get on some of those. Thank you to Max, Dan, Adam, and JP for making this highlight of my week every week, and yeah, that's all I got. 10 Pillars was a lot of fun to play today. So
awesome stuff. Thanks again for being here. Max, do some shout outs. Oh, he's not there. He's not,
oh shit. No, I'm here. Sorry. I literally just said my face shows my excitement for this show. So that's what I thought you guys were laughing at. Then I realized I was stupid. Yeah. No, it was a good show. Very cool. Sorry again for, stupid fucking video stuff, but I figured having a static image is better than having a fluctuating video thing. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I am, of course, GassyMexican here on Twitch and YouTube and all that stuff. All my stuff, you want to check it out, you can find it on the side outside of just this show, us doing D&D. Of course, thanks to JP, Dan, Zeke, and Adam for a wonderful show. We'll work on getting that video thing done, but if you guys want to watch me without any tech difficulties, you can catch me on my stream a little bit after this. I'm going to continue playing Jedi Fallen Order. So, yeah.
Awesome stuff. DansGaming, some shout outs, please, sir.
Thanks for having me on the show. I'm DansGaming, variety streamer. I'm currently finishing up Death Stranding. There'll be at least a couple more days of that game. Another super fun episode this today. A lot fun combat scene, and then I loved that my conversation with Zeke. That was super fun to RP, and I can't wait to find out what happens next week.
Agreed.
Awesome stuff. I'll do shout outs here real quick. Tomorrow, like Zeke said, we got drop frames. No guests, just going to be the three of us talking as usual. Then I'll be taking the rest of the day off. And then I still don't know what game we're playing yet. I haven't figured that out. Maybe Age of Empires 2. Is there a campaign? Does anyone know if there's a single player campaign in Age of Empires 2? It's been a while since I've played that.
Yeah, there's a campaign single player mode for those games.
Okay. Maybe we'll check that out and fuck around for a little while. I'm not sure. For Verona on Saturday, we've also got our upcoming live show of Court of Swords. That'll be on December the 14th, beginning at 1 p.m. Eastern. Probably, I guess we'll do another 8-hour show. I haven't really decided on or even talked about on how much time we're going to be spending with that. So we'll figure that out. And then, of course, we have Jesse Cox's show coming up on December the 11th. Will be the start date for that with Anna Prosser, Strippin, Bike Man, and Pocket is the guest. We'll be doing character creation tomorrow night, and that'll be up for patrons a little bit later. Probably Thursday morning, actually, is when that'll be posted. So that's it for me. Adam, do some shout outs, then we'll do some XP.
Yeah, let's do it. So thank you everybody for coming. It's nice to be back in the DM seat and doing the Court of Swords thing. It's really fun getting to explore the little details of the universe, and I also really, really desperately want noodles now. So I know what I'm doing after the show.
Me too.
Go get myself some goddamn noodles. So if you have questions about the show or the jamming stuff, or just want to talk about what happened in today's episode, head on over to community.itmeJP.com. I've got the community thread there. I put it in chat, so you can go check it out. And if you want to follow me, you can do so on Twitter at Skinnyghost or twitch.tv/Adam Coble. I also need to figure out what game I'm going to play, because I just finished Death Stranding and I haven't decided if I'm going to play the Jedi game. I kind of want to play Disco Elysium, but I understand that there's a lot of reading in that game, and I kind of hate games like that for stream.
There's
so
a fucking ton of reading, but
there's an add-on.
So much reading.
Yeah.
There's a mod for it that'll read it out loud. Like Microsoft will read it out loud for you.
Yeah, Microsoft Sam will read it for you. If you want that.
Is that better or worse?
I don't know if it's better or worse. Yeah. Because the reason I burn out on those games is because they tend to be kind of long, and spending like 6 or 8 hours like doing voices is like exhausting. Oh, yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll take a look at it. We'll see how much of that reading it is. But yeah. Let's give experience to these fine players. I'm pretty sure nobody had win a noodle guzzling competition as their goal, so
nope.
We'll see. It might be one of those.
I don't think I did any goals. I don't know about the rest of you. I feel like it was a goalless episode.
So let's see. Ramus, you let me see. You get 50 times 15 for any worked on goal, and I think you might have worked on all 3 of yours. Let me see. 15. So find a way to revive unnamed, which like you did because you have to get unnamed to the fortress to do that. Bring unnamed back to life. You worked on that one as well, right? Because you did the thing. And then turn 10 pillars into an ally. You definitely worked on that for sure. Yeah. So 2,250 for Ramus today. Berg, you got that ghost kicked out of you so fast.
Yeah, pretty sure I worked on.
Did you work on
really.
ghost goals? No, none of those. And then for you,
experience.
No, you worked on. You have an unnamed. You have one for unnamed. So you worked on finding a soul for unnamed, which is like
soul. I was gonna say
project
that's probably
did.
not the only one. I also think I'm gonna get rid of that second goal. That I don't know.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, right? So mark 750 for right now, and then we can talk about the new goals for everybody. So ponder on it for a second. Okay. So Maharib, find a way to revive unnamed.
Yeah, I guess I did that,
definitely worked on that one. So that's 750 for you. And then pillars, you worked on your middle one as well. Return to grave dirt with the fixed unnamed. So that'll be 50. That'll be 650 for you. Cool. So yeah, does anybody want to change their goals now that you're here and the sort of ritual, whatever that entails, is before you? Ramus, what do you want your goals to be going forward?
I'll keep mine the same.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. Berg, do you know what you want yours to be?
Well, it's just the second.
Right now, I have learn more about Maharib's axe, find a soul for unnamed, and learn more about my magical belt.
Keep the first in the find a soul and find more about the superpower belt.
Yeah. Okay. So get rid of the learn more about Maharib's axe for right now.
Yeah, it just seems like it's not gonna happen anytime. Like maybe.
I mean, it might happen.
Back to it if it becomes relevant.
It might happen in the cave if we have somewhat of a not downtime, but you could definitely just have a conversation next episode. But that's up to you.
That's true. Yeah.
It's up to you. It doesn't matter to me.
I fucking hate goals.
I'm gonna swap out one, Adam.
Yeah.
I'm gonna swap out the last 10 one. Pillars. Swap out the third one for earn the trust of the embers.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay, and then Maharib, do you want to keep yours or change any of yours?
Explore the power of the Wicked Edge. I'm going to change find a way to revive unnamed / Amira to just find a way to revive unnamed.
Okay.
And then find peace with what happened to Amira. I think that I'm still... Like, I think that that's going to have resolution around the time that unnamed gets revived, in a sense.
Yeah, it might. That might make it more complicated. We'll see. But yeah, definitely I think that's one worth keeping.
Yeah, same here. Same. I agree.
Yeah, and Max, if you want to leave that one open for right now, if you want to think about it or wait till next session, you're welcome to. That's okay.
I think I have one. Find a way to resist future possession.
Oh yeah. No, that's great, right?
Like, I guess that's true. Yeah.
Right? Like talk to, because there was that moment where the shaman where Vani looked at you like
exactly.
And so if you have a conversation with her, she might have some ideas about how to like
exactly
possessing spirits away from you, because this keeps happening.
We're in a space too.
I love it.
Where they're shaman, they might be able to help. So
that is a very good goal.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm into it.
I like that.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
All right.
And I don't get them very often.
Hey, everyone gets one every once in a while, you know.
Yep.
I can't see your face, so I have no idea how you're taking that comment. So
I'm looking
I'm just gonna guess that you're really upset and like really into the joke. It's the only way I can take that.
How dare you say that?
Yeah, something like that. Amanda's like joining in your hate brigade on me or something.
Yeah, she's on the side too, yelling.
Get him, babe! Get him!
Yeah, exactly. All right, that's it. Thanks everyone for watching. We will see you guys next time on Court of Swords. We're out. Have a great rest of your night. Bye-bye.